was Elisa Lottor, and her book is The Miracle of Regenerative Medicine, How to Naturally Reverse the Aging Process. And she blew me away. You know, I go into shows and I look over the books and I'm usually blown away by a lot of the people, and then some of the people, it just depends. It just depends on the chemistry and how much information somebody comes in with, and this is just chocked full. So, I went in knowing that I had a lot of questions, but I also wanted to see where the energy led us. So I only did a couple of notes for this particular book, and it was so much better than I could have even asked for and planned for, because she's so knowledgeable on all of these subjects. She's been a homeopathic doctor for over 40 years. I mean, those kinds of people, gosh, if I lived in California, I would chase her down. So, Elisa Lottor, The Miracle of Regenerative Medicine. We just talked about stem cells, hyperbaric chamber, cannabis, you name it, homeopathic, nutrition, inflammation. You guys, this is the thing about Emily's Energy Corner is that I don't plan for what the subject is going to be until the show reveals to me what the subject is that I feel compelled to cover in my last segment that I talk by myself. And she hit on a point that really brought home what's going on in our world right now. We all know about GMOs, genetically modified organisms in our foods, but it is really powerful to understand that the foods that we should not be eating in the United States, grains, wheat, corn, they are poisonous because of the glyphosate. And here in the United States, we use it prevalent on our food. So anything that doesn't say organic means that it has that and that it is absolutely carcinogenic. What makes me sad is I was listening to a family, and this is not the first family that I've listened to, that has a child on the autism spectrum, and they traveled outside of the country. They were in Sweden. The past couple weeks they spent some time there. It wasn't just a quick vacation. And their child was able to eat bread and different pastries and different things that children really, really want to have, and they didn't have any regression. They had no backslide. And the family wrote to the group from out of the country, and they said, okay, you guys, we're here in Sweden, and it turns out that we can eat whatever we want here because the food, the quality of the food is so different than what it is at home. So at home, my children are on this really restricted diet. You know, when you think about a restricted diet, it's very different as an adult. When you are on a restricted diet as an adult, you have consciously made that decision to remove foods from your life and from your diet. So you go places and you know what to eat and how to eat it, and it's all a conscious choice. But for children, it's very different because we as parents make that conscious decision for them. And while I totally support it and have done it myself for my children, finding NAET, Nam-Bruggepad's allergy elimination technique, took us off all of the food sensitivities, and we no longer have to do such a strict diet. And I am unbelievably and forever grateful for that because we didn't have regression. But when you're a child and you're not allowed to have what your friends are having, if you're at a birthday party, that's a huge deal. I cannot tell you the meltdowns that I've seen in kids that just want to be like the other kids and they can't. And it makes me so sad because we are poisoning our children and each other and adults in this country with the way that we are making our food. And I know that you got the other half of the people that go, don't buy anything in a box, don't buy anything that's processed, grow your own food. Well, you know what? I don't have a garden, and I would love to say that I don't eat anything processed, but I would be lying. And I would love to say that I never eat sugar, and that would be the biggest, fattest lie I could give. And I don't know that I want to be so extreme, but it makes me sad that if I went out of this country and I went to the 61 other countries that have banned Monsanto and GMOs, 61 countries around the world have banned this poison. And here is where we make it. The United States is where we manufacture it. This is where it comes from. Roundup, the glyphosate, the weed killer Roundup that you're now finally seeing on commercials because one man with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma finally won the lawsuit against Monsanto because the government has given immunity to these people that are making the poisons. You know, I didn't think that Emily's Energy Corner was going to be on my huge soapbox, but honestly, when she talked about that she would cut out grains, to reduce inflammation, that it's not because it's grains. It's not because it's wheat. It's not because it's corn. It's not because it's rice or whatever. It's not because of those things. It's because of what is put on them to help prevent mold. But a natural food, I remember Julianne Michaels talked about that your food should curdle in the refrigerator in about a week. That the food that you're buying should go bad in about a week, so that you eat the food. That's the kind of food that your goal is to buy and put in your refrigerator. It is honest to goodness, real food that isn't sprayed with poison, that doesn't have staying power. I don't know that I want to eat something that still would be in its exact same form 5 years from now. That's really terrifying, unless I was on the moon or something, right? So I just want to say that I really wish that the people that were in charge, the people in politics, the people that make money from all of this, could change it and still make their money and their millions and their fortunes by helping make healthy food for us, for our children, and that our children don't have to be so restricted in their life, because that is tough. It is really, really tough, and we don't want to be constantly wishing that we could try something that our friends are having, or as they get older, they go off and sneak. Now, for me, I was never on a restricted diet, but when I was growing up, my parents were really, really strict in what we ate, and I would go to school and trade my whole lunch for a Twinkie because I couldn't get one at home, or I'd go to my friend's house and her mom always bought like junk food, and I would like circle myself with chips and Magic Shell. I would like drink it straight because I was like a crazy person. It wasn't even like a kid in a candy store. It was like a maniac. It was like unleashing a monster of like, here, you can have all the chips and all the candy and all the stuff. And it didn't help me to learn the art of balance. It made me a really extreme person with food because of that. And now you're talking about, really serious diets that these children have to be on because we have started poisoning them from the womb on with our environmental toxins and the foods. And I'm not even going to go into the other things that we know are poisonous and being put into our children, but it sets off that same kind of chain reaction for these kids, that from the beginning they're constantly push-pulled, and we're trying different diets and we're trying different things and different therapies. There's so many children that are in need of a strict diet, removal of different things. Granted, sugar runs rampant, and yes, we can all do our best to do better about that. I remember in college learning that a McDonald's milkshake had 6 times more sodium than the French fries. We just don't know what's in our food. We don't understand as well as we could, and I wish that, while we're on the subject of wishing, I really wish that starting in elementary school, we learned mindfulness practices and relaxation techniques, breathing techniques, meditation, things that can help our children, because our children are stressed out of their minds and bodies. And so are we. So read Elisa Lottor's book. Oh my goodness. The Miracle of Regenerative Medicine. This thing was amazing. You guys have been listening to All About Healing, and this has been Emily's Energy Corner. We'll see you back here next Wednesday. Make it a great week.